let's just dive right into it. Today, we're breaking down what true leadership in the workplace actually looks like, which is absolutely crucial if you're a student or a young professional just stepping into your career. We hear the word leader tossed around all the time, right? But in this explainer, we're focusing specifically on the pillars of ethical leadership and integrity. We're going to strip away all the myths and look at what it literally takes to lead with real character. But before we get into our main story, we've got to completely dismantle this super common illusion. Think about the business world, politics, or even just scrolling through social media. We so often define a leader as someone who just throws their authority around, has thousands of followers, or pushes this relentless results-at-any-cost mindset. But here's the reality. Ethical leadership isn't about a fancy title or a corner office. It's entirely about your conduct. It's the mark of your character, not just the influence of your power. Look, leading with an anything-goes mentality might draw a massive crowd at first, but you're never actually going to earn their respect. True leadership prioritizes honesty and transparency way above popularity. So, let me put you in the hot seat for a second. Imagine you're right at the starting line of your career. You've landed a great job, but out of nowhere, you're faced with this high-stakes choice. The deadline is looming, the client is breathing down your neck, and there's a massive bonus on the line. The only catch, you just have to bend the rules a tiny bit to get it. What would you do? Would you compromise your own integrity for a temporary reward? Just hold on to your answer in your head as we go through the rest of this explainer. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the leadership illusion, then look at a real-world dilemma with a professional named Sahil. After that, we'll unpack the 5 core pillars of ethical leadership, cover some daily habits, and finally, explore the impact beyond the targets. Section 1, the leadership illusion. Moving past follower counts and temporary power. Section 2, Sahil's ethical dilemma, a real-world test of character and transparency. Let's ground this in reality with a guy named Sahil. He was 24 years old, so probably pretty close to the age of a lot of you watching this, and he's acting as the captain of his marketing team. Well, a huge project deadline was coming up fast, and the data they had just wasn't exactly what the client was hoping for. His teammates actually came up to him and suggested making some, let's call them, minor adjustments to the data just to keep the client happy. They literally said, "Sir, no one will know. If the project passes, we get a bonus." It's the classic temptation, right? It seems like this totally victimless shortcut for a quick payoff. All Sahil had to do was say yes, look the other way, and everyone gets paid. But Sahil didn't take the bait. And let's be real, as a young professional, turning down guaranteed money is agonizing. But he had the foresight to see the bigger picture. He knew that if he agreed to fake the data even just this one time, dishonesty would instantly become the new normal for his whole team. He'd basically be teaching them that ethics are totally optional whenever money is involved. So he took a huge risk. He chose complete transparency, he went straight to the client, explained the actual unvarnished truth, and asked for an extension. And get this, the result was incredible. The client was so deeply impressed by Sahil's honesty that instead of just passing that single project, they awarded his company a highly lucrative long-term contract. He literally proved the saying, "Be the change, bring the change." He showed his team the right path, rather than just the easy shortcut. Moving on to Section 3, the 5 core pillars, the foundation of ethical leadership. All right, so these 5 pillars form the absolute bedrock of an ethical workplace. We've got respect, service, justice, honesty, and community building. Now, respect obviously means valuing everyone's contributions. And community building is all about fostering a collaborative, supportive vibe instead of a cutthroat one. And honestly, whether you're running a massive corporation or just trying to survive a university group project, these pillars have to be your compass. Let's really break down those middle 3 so you can see exactly what they look like in everyday practice. First up on that list is service. This simply means prioritizing the interests of others above your own self-interest. If you're a young leader, the absolute quickest way to put this into practice is just shifting your vocabulary. Seriously, stop saying, "I did this," and start saying, "We did this." Make your team feel like actual partners in your shared success, rather than just treating them as stepping stones for your own personal glory. Next up, we have justice. Now, this requires absolute fairness, impartiality, and zero bias. In the workplace, or let's face it, especially in those dreaded college group projects, this is incredibly tough, particularly if you're working with your friends. But justice means that if someone messes up, even if they're your absolute best friend, you apply the exact same rules and standards to them as you would to literally anyone else. The rules have to apply to everyone equally, and yep, that starts with you. And then, of course, we have honesty. This means sticking to the truth in every circumstance, no matter how awkward or uncomfortable it gets. Look, when you make a mistake, and trust me, you are going to make mistakes, honesty means having the guts to take full accountability. An unethical leader will try to cover up one tiny mistake by spinning 10 more lies. But an ethical leader, they own it, they learn from it, and they keep moving forward.
All right, Section 4, Habits of True Leaders, Putting Ethics into Daily Practice.
Because knowing the concepts is great, but actions are what actually change workplace culture. So it really boils down to these 4 actionable steps. First, walk the talk. Leadership is all about being the example. If you expect your team to roll in on time, you'd better be the first one through that door. Second, accept responsibility. When a project completely tanks, the blame stops with you. But when it's a massive success, you pass all the credit down to your team. Third, never compromise on values for some momentary gain. Your no has to be just as firm and confident as your yes. And fourth, be a mentor. Don't use fear to try and motivate people. You want to encourage them, guide them, and really draw out their best skills. And finally, Section 5, Impact Beyond the Targets, Shaping Workplace Culture and Society. Because ethical leadership isn't just some nice-to-have management trend. It literally shapes our society. We see this exact cause and effect playing out right now in dynamic business hubs, like startups and NGOs in rapidly growing cities such as Rajkot and Ahmedabad. When leaders make honest, transparent decisions, the direct result is a massive boost in trust and loyalty from their teams. When they prioritize team growth, they organically build a positive, inclusive culture. And when they accept accountability, that's what ensures long-term sustainability and a rock-solid reputation. Over time, these organizations aren't just hitting their profit margins, they're actually building trust and commanding real respect in their communities. It ultimately comes down to this quote right here. A true leader is one who inspires others by becoming an example themselves. Ethical leadership isn't merely about managing tasks on a board. It's guidance that's forged from deep-seated values. Remember, power and authority, those can vanish practically overnight. But the values you establish, the culture you build, and the example you set, that lives on permanently. It builds better businesses, and fundamentally, it just builds a better society. So as you gear up to take on new challenges and step into leadership roles in your own career, I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. When the pressure is on and that shortcut is looking awfully tempting, will you lead for a temporary target or will you lead for a permanent legacy? The choice and the character it reveals is entirely up to you. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।